The views and opinions of this program are those of the hosts, guests, and callers. There is substantial risk of loss in trading futures and options, which you should carefully consider prior to trading.
Make sure to subscribe to the Market Talk YouTube channel. You can watch our latest interviews with top market analysts in the country, find bonus content, and much more. It's easy. Just go to youtube.com/@MarketTalkAg and hit the subscribe button. Or you can search for Market Talk Ag on YouTube.
Joining us now for market analysis and recap of the March USDA reports, Arlan Suderman, Chief Commodities Economist at StoneX. Arlan, let's start on the prospective plantings numbers first. USDA says just over 90 million acres of corn, 86.5 million of soybeans, all wheat acreage, 47.49. Looked like everything pretty much in line. That corn number may be a little lower than the average estimates. What's your thoughts with the planting intentions? Cotton acreage, too, was higher than expectations. So thoughts on the planting side first.
Yeah, these numbers are all changed by the June 30th report, but this is the baseline we have that USDA will likely use in their first marketing year 24-25 balance sheets released in May. About May the 10th or so. So therefore, that's why they have importance to the markets. The corn acreage coming in smaller than expected is a big boost for the corn bulls. Things had looked pretty bearish ahead of that. Now, as I put in the corn acres that USDA gave, and I used USDA's trendline yield that they gave us back in February, which we expect them to use in their May balance sheet, that still gives us ending stocks of 2.2 billion bushels. So there's nothing bullish about that. But what we've done now is we've seen corn being spread against soybeans on this report, supporting corn while pressuring soybean prices. Now, if you take 5% off of that, say we have a weather risk and we pull the yields 5% below trend, that does turn into something, because then you drop stocks down to 1.5 billion bushels. That's where the market starts getting concerned. On the other hand, if you have a very good growing season, bump it above 5% above trend, then you're looking at 3 billion bushels. On the soybean side, acreage came in pretty close to expectations. You plug in this number with USDA's 52 bushel yield, and it gives you ending stocks based on my demand projections in the upper 500 million bushel range. You take 5% off yield, that gives you 368 million bushels. Add 5% on top of trend yield, you get over 800 million bushels carry out. So how the weather goes this summer is going to be big, but regardless, under those scenarios, we still see stocks of soybeans increase over the coming year. And that's another reason we're seeing corn spread against soybeans in the initial reaction.
And looking at the quarterly grain stocks numbers, nothing really jumped out at me there. Corn was a bit above expectations, with beans a little bit below, and wheat was pretty close. Any big notes for you on those quarterly grain stocks numbers, Arlan, here, tying in with the plantings report?
Yeah, the corn coming in about 80 million bushels below expectations suggests that maybe we're feeding a little bit more, and we know that likely to be the case because cheap prices are giving some stimulus for feeders to put more pounds on both the cattle and on the hogs. And so we're increasing demand there too. And that's on top of the increased grind for ethanol as well as exports. So I do expect that we'll see corn ending stocks eventually. The projections for the current year drop closer to the 2 billion bushel range. That's still a lot of corn, but it's moving in the right direction.
All right, so we're watching all of this. Plus, it's the end of the month and the end of the quarter. I should ask you real quick on the consumer sentiment survey results out on Thursday. Plus, we have the PCE inflation data coming out Friday while the markets are closed. Any notes for you in some of those outside markets real quick?
Interesting consumer sentiment was a little bit more upbeat than what the consumer confidence numbers were earlier this week. Different surveys by different entities. The PCE inflation data coming out tomorrow morning will certainly be something that the markets will be taking a look at, but unable to trade until Monday's session. Expected to have an impact on Federal Reserve monetary policy at their May meeting.
All right, good stuff there. Arlan Suderman, Chief Commodities Economist at StoneX, joining us for market analysis and recap of the March USDA reports here on our midday commentary today. Let's run through the numbers again real quick. Prospective plantings report, USDA expecting just over 90 million acres of corn, 86.51 of soybeans, and all wheat acreage, 47.49 10.497 on the March report. Cotton acreage came in at 10.673, sorghum at 6.395 million, and rice acreage at 2.932 million acres. Now, again, that corn number was well below expectations of 91.7. The soybean number pretty much in line. The wheat number was a little bit higher. That cotton number was a bit lower than expectations, although it was above last year's number. You look at sorghum, a little bit lower. Rice was pretty much in line with expectations. You break down the wheat side as well. That all wheat number, again, a bit higher. USDA expecting a little bit less on the winter wheat side. Spring wheat acreage, though, was well above the trade average of 10.89, came in at 11.335, and durum wheat as well, much higher than expected, at 2.028 million acres. On the quarterly grain stock side, USDA said corn coming in at 8.347 billion bushels. Meantime, soybeans came in at 1.845 billion and wheat at 1.087 billion. If you break that down, that's corn, 43 million above expectations. Soybean stocks, 80 million below expectations. And the wheat stocks number was 17 million above expectations. We're going to have full analysis of the reports coming up here today on Market Talk. We will have a conversation with Brian Doherty from Total Farm Marketing here on the show today. Also, Ted Seifert with Zaner AgHedge will stop by for some thoughts. And we'll also, coming up on Friday, have a USDA report roundtable. Markets will be closed, but we'll talk with Dwayne Bussey of Bolt Marketing and Christy Van On Cheeseth of Van On and Company. So a lot of content and analysis coming your way here, recapping the USDA numbers on Market Talk. That's the Market Talk Midday Commentary for Thursday, March 28th. I'm Jesse Allen.